ask you something a little personal?
Sure, go ahead.
What usually makes you angry?
That's a good question.
I've been thinking about how people react to anger.
Well, I don't get angry easily, but some things really bother me.
Like what?
Dishonesty, for example.
You mean when someone lies?
Yes, especially when the lie hurts someone else.
I completely agree.
Trust is very important to me.
Me too.
Once trust is broken, it's hard to rebuild.
That's true in both friendships and relationships.
Another thing that makes me angry is unfair treatment.
What kind of unfair treatment?
When someone is judged without being understood.
That happens more often than we think.
Yes, and it can really hurt people.
Do small, everyday things ever make you angry?
Sometimes.
Like what?
When people are rude to service workers.
Oh, I hate that too.
They deserve respect like everyone else.
Exactly.
I also get annoyed when people waste my time.
You mean being late?
Yes, especially when they don't apologize.
That shows a lack of respect.
Right.
What do you usually do when you feel angry?
I try to stay quiet at first,
Why is that?
because reacting immediately can make things worse.
That's very wise.
I prefer to calm down before speaking.
I should probably do that more often.
What makes you angry?
When people blame others for their mistakes.
That's frustrating.
It shows they don't want to take responsibility.
Responsibility is important in life.
Yes, it helps us grow.
How do you calm down when you're angry?
I usually go for a walk.
Fresh air helps a lot.
It clears my mind.
I listen to music when I'm upset.
What kind of music?
Calm instrumental music.
That sounds relaxing.
It really helps change my mood.
Managing anger is important,
Yes, anger itself isn't bad.
but the way we handle it matters.
Exactly.
Do you cry easily?
Not very often, but sometimes I do.
What kind of situations make you cry?
Emotional movies sometimes do.
Really?
Yes, especially stories about families.
Those can be very touching.
I remember watching a movie about a father and daughter.
What happened in the movie?
The father worked very hard to support his child.
That sounds emotional.
At the end, the daughter thanked him for everything.
That must have been a powerful scene.
I couldn't hold my tears.
I understand that feeling.
What about you?
Sad animal stories make me cry.
Animals can be very loyal.
Exactly.
Seeing them suffer is heartbreaking.
Yes, it really affects me emotionally.
Do you cry because of real-life situations too?
Yes, especially when someone I care about is hurting.
That shows you have empathy.
I think empathy is very important.
I agree.
Have you ever cried because of happiness?
Actually, yes.
When?
When my brother got married,
That must have been a beautiful moment.
it was very emotional.
Weddings can bring a lot of emotions.
Seeing my family happy made me emotional.
That's understandable.
Do you feel embarrassed when you cry?
Not anymore.
Why not?
Because crying is natural.
That's a healthy way to see it.
Holding emotions inside can be harmful.
Yes, expressing feelings is important.
Sometimes crying helps you feel better afterward.
It's like releasing stress.
Exactly.
Emotions are part of being human.
And we shouldn't be ashamed of them.
Have you ever experienced a very embarrassing moment?
Oh, yes, many times.
Everyone has at least one story like that.
That's true.
What's your most embarrassing moment?
It happened at a restaurant.
What happened?
I waved at someone I thought I knew.
Let me guess, it wasn't your friend.
Exactly.
That must have been awkward.
Very awkward.
What did you do?
I quickly looked away and pretended nothing happened.
That's funny.
At the time, it didn't feel funny at all.
I can imagine.
My face turned completely red.
I would feel the same.
What about you?
I once tripped and fell in a crowded mall.
Oh no.
Everyone was looking at me.
That must have been embarrassing.
I wanted to disappear.
Did anyone help you?
Yes, someone helped me stand up.
That was kind.
After a while, I started laughing about it.
That's the best reaction.
Embarrassing moments become funny stories later.
That's very true.
Now, when I remember it, I laugh.
Me too when I remember my situation.
Life would be boring without these stories.
I agree.
Everyone makes awkward mistakes sometimes.
That's part of being human.
Do you ever feel nervous in certain situations?
Yes, definitely.
What usually makes you nervous?
Public speaking is a big one for me.
Really? Even speaking in front of a small group?
Yes, even a small audience can make me nervous.
What happens when you feel that way?
My hands start shaking a little.
That sounds stressful.
My heart also beats faster than usual.
I experience that too sometimes.
It's a very uncomfortable feeling.
Do you still have to give presentations?
Yes, sometimes at work.
How do you prepare for them?
I practice a lot beforehand.
Practice definitely helps build confidence.
It really does.
Do you ever forget what you want to say?
Sometimes I do.
That must make you even more nervous.
Yes, but I try to stay calm.
What helps you calm down?
I take deep breaths before speaking.
That's a good technique.
It helps slow down my heart rate.
What about job interviews?
Those make me nervous too.
I think most people feel that way.
You want to make a good impression.
Exactly.
What situations make you nervous?
Meeting a lot of new people at once.
Are you a little shy?
Yes, especially at the beginning.
I used to be very shy as well.
What helped you become more confident?
Talking to people more often.
Practice again.
Yes, confidence grows with experience.
That makes sense.
Do you get nervous before important events?
Sometimes, like before a big meeting.
How do you deal with that feeling?
I remind myself that it's normal.
That's a healthy mindset.
Everyone feels nervous sometimes.
Yes, it means we care about the situation.
That's a good way to think about it.
Nervousness isn't always a bad thing.
It can motivate us to do better.
Exactly.
And once the moment passes, we feel proud.
That's very true.
Do you ever feel bored during your free time?
Sometimes I do.
What usually causes that feeling?
Usually when I don't have anything planned.
I understand that.
Sitting around doing nothing can feel strange.
I don't like being bored either.
What do you do when you're bored?
I try to find something productive.
Like what?
Sometimes I read a book.
Reading is a great activity.
It helps me relax and learn something new.
I enjoy watching documentaries.
That sounds interesting.
I like learning about history and nature.
That's a good way to spend time.
Do you have any hobbies?
Yes, I like drawing and cooking.
Cooking can be very creative.
I enjoy trying new recipes.
Have you ever made a dish that surprised you?
Yes, once I made homemade pasta.
That must have taken a lot of effort.
It did, but it was fun.
I usually exercise when I'm bored.
That's a healthy habit.
Going for a run helps clear my mind.
Fresh air can improve your mood.
Exactly.
Do you think boredom can sometimes be helpful?
In what way?
It can inspire creativity.
That's true.
When we feel bored, we start looking for new ideas.
I never thought about it that way.
Some of the best ideas come during quiet moments.
That makes sense.
But too much boredom can feel uncomfortable.
Yes, time moves very slowly.
Staying active is important.
I agree.
Do you prefer relaxing activities or active ones?
A mix of both.
Balance is important.
Too much activity can be tiring.
And too much rest can be boring.
Exactly.
Finding the right balance keeps life interesting.
I couldn't agree more.
Do you experience stress often?
Yes, especially during busy weeks.
Work can be very stressful sometimes.
Deadlines are the biggest source of stress for me.
I know that feeling well.
When several deadlines arrive at the same time, it feels overwhelming.
How do you usually deal with that pressure?
I try to organize my tasks.
That sounds helpful.
Making a list helps me focus.
I do the same thing.
Completing one task at a time reduces stress.
That's a smart approach. What do you do when you're stressed?
I usually go for a walk outside.
Fresh air helps a lot. Yes, it clears my mind.
Do you ever listen to music to relax?
All the time.
What kind of music do you like?
Calm instrumental music.
That sounds peaceful.
It helps me slow down my thoughts.
I like exercising when I'm stressed.
Exercise releases tension. After a workout, I feel much better.
That's because exercise releases positive chemicals in the brain.
I've heard about that. Do you talk to people about your stress?
Sometimes I talk to close friends.
Sharing feelings can help a lot.
It makes the problem feel smaller.
Exactly. Do you ever try meditation?
Yes, occasionally.
Does it work for you?
It helps me relax and focus on breathing.
I might try that someday. Even a few minutes can make a difference.
Sleep is also important when dealing with stress.
Absolutely.
When I don't sleep well, I feel more stressed.
Good sleep improves mental health.
That's very true.
Managing stress is an important life skill.
Yes, because stress will always exist.
The key is learning how to handle it.
And taking care of ourselves.
Exactly.
Do you ever think about the things you're grateful for?
Yes, especially when I feel stressed or overwhelmed.
That's interesting. Why during those times?
Because it reminds me that many good things still exist in my life.
That's a very positive way to look at things.
What about you? Do you practice gratitude?
I try to.
What are you most grateful for?
My family, without a doubt.
Family support is incredibly important.
They always encourage me when I'm facing difficulties.
That kind of support is priceless.
What about you?
I'm very grateful for my health.
That's something many people forget to appreciate.
Exactly. When you're healthy, you can do so many things.
That's very true.
I'm also grateful for my friends.
Good friends can make life much happier.
They make both good and bad times easier.
Do you ever write down things you're grateful for?
You mean like a gratitude journal?
Yes, exactly.
I have tried it before.
Did it help?
Surprisingly, yes.
In what way?
It made me notice small positive moments.
Like what?
A beautiful sunset or a kind conversation.
Those little things can mean a lot.
Yes, they remind us that life is not only about problems.
I agree with that completely.
Sometimes we focus too much on what we don't have.
Instead of appreciating what we already have,
Exactly.
gratitude really changes your mindset.
It makes you feel calmer and happier.
Do you try to express gratitude to people directly?
Yes, I try to thank people more often.
That's a wonderful habit,
People like to feel appreciated.
and it strengthens relationships.
That's very true.
Sometimes a simple thank you can brighten someone's day.
Absolutely.
Gratitude makes life feel richer.
I couldn't agree more.
Do you think jealousy is normal in relationships?
I think a little jealousy can be natural,
Why do you say that?
because it sometimes shows that you care about someone.
That makes sense.
But too much jealousy can be very harmful.
Yes, it can destroy trust.
Trust is the foundation of every relationship.
Without trust, things become very difficult.
Have you ever felt jealous in a relationship?
Yes, I have.
What caused that feeling?
My partner was spending a lot of time with someone else.
That must have made you uncomfortable.
It did.
Did you talk about it with them?
Eventually, I did.
Was the conversation helpful?
Yes, communication helped clear misunderstandings.
That's good.
I realized that my insecurity was part of the problem.
It's brave to admit that.
Relationships require honesty.
Absolutely.
What about you? Have you ever felt jealous?
Yes, once or twice.
What did you do about it?
I tried to stay calm and talk openly.
That sounds very mature.
I believe communication solves many problems.
I agree completely.
Jealousy often comes from insecurity.
Or fear of losing someone.
That's very true.
But controlling someone never works.
No, it only creates more conflict.
Healthy relationships need freedom and trust.
Exactly.
Do you think jealousy can ever be positive?
Maybe if it reminds us to appreciate our partner.
That's an interesting point.
But balance is important.
Too much jealousy becomes toxic.
That's why communication and trust matters so much.
I completely agree.
What would you say is the happiest moment of your life?
That's a difficult question,
Why is that?
because there are many happy moments.
That's a good problem to have.
One moment that stands out is my graduation day.
That must have been very exciting.
It was the result of many years of effort.
Your family must have been proud.
They were extremely proud.
That must have made the moment even more special.
Seeing their smiles meant everything to me.
Those kinds of moments stay in our memories forever.
Exactly.
What about you?
What was your happiest moment?
One of my happiest memories was a trip with my family.
Where did you go?
We visited a beautiful beach.
That sounds relaxing.
It was peaceful and joyful.
What made it so special?
We spent the entire day laughing and talking.
Family time like that is priceless.
Yes, everyone was happy and relaxed.
Sometimes simple moments bring the most happiness.
I completely agree.
Did you take many photos?
Yes, we took a lot of pictures together.
Those photos must bring back good memories.
Every time I see them, I smile.
That's the beauty of memories.
They allow us to relive happy moments.
Do you think happiness always comes from big achievements?
Not necessarily.
I agree.
Small everyday moments can be just as meaningful.
Like sharing a meal with loved ones.
Or enjoying a peaceful sunset.
Happiness often comes from simple experiences.
That's very true.
Appreciating those moments is important.
Because they make life beautiful.
I couldn't agree more.
Are you afraid of heights?
I used to be very afraid of them.
Really? What made you afraid?
I think it started when I was a child.
Did something happen?
I once looked down from a very tall building.
That must have been scary.
My legs started shaking immediately.
That's a common reaction.
After that experience, I avoided high places.
Did that affect your daily life?
Sometimes, especially when traveling.
For example?
I avoided observation towers or tall bridges.
I could understand that.
But eventually I decided to face my fear.
What made you change your mind?
I realized my fear was limiting my experiences.
That's a very brave realization.
So I started with small steps.
What kind of steps?
First, I stood on a second-floor balcony.
That sounds manageable.
At first, I still felt nervous.
Did the feeling improve over time?
Yes, slowly.
What was the next step?
I went hiking on a small mountain.
That must have been challenging.
It was, but the view was beautiful.
Sometimes facing fear brings rewards.
Exactly.
Do you still feel afraid now?
A little, but it's much better than before.
That's great progress.
I'm proud that I didn't let fear control me.
Facing fears can make us stronger.
I believe that too.
Maybe one day you'll enjoy heights.
Maybe I will.
Have you tried standing on a tall building again?
Yes, recently.
How did it feel?
Surprisingly exciting.
That's wonderful.
It felt like I had conquered something.
Those victories feel amazing.
Yes, they boost confidence.
Fear often disappears when we face it.
That's very true.
Are you afraid of spiders?
I used to be terrified of them.
Many people share that fear.
I couldn't even look at pictures of spiders.
That sounds intense.
If I saw one in my room, I would panic.
What would you do?
I would leave the room immediately.
That must have been inconvenient.
It definitely was.
What helped you overcome that fear?
Learning more about spiders.
Really?
Yes, I discovered most spiders are harmless.
Knowledge can reduce fear.
Exactly.
Did you gradually face them?
Yes, slowly.
What was the first step?
I started by looking at pictures of spiders.
That must have been difficult at first.
It was, but I got used to it.
What happened next?
I observed a small spider in the garden.
That sounds like progress.
I realized it wasn't as scary as I thought.
Fear often exaggerates things.
That's true.
How do you react now if you see a spider?
I just move it outside.
That's very brave.
I'm still a little nervous sometimes.
That's normal.
but I no longer panic.
That's a big improvement.
Facing fears takes time and patience.
Yes, but it's worth it.
Overcoming fear feels empowering.
It definitely does. How do you usually deal with disappointment?
It depends on the situation.
What do you mean?
Some disappointments are small, others are bigger.
That's true.
For small disappointments, I try to move on quickly.
And bigger ones?
I give myself time to process the feelings.
That sounds healthy.
Ignoring emotions doesn't help.
I agree with that.
Have you experienced a big disappointment recently?
Yes, I didn't get a job I wanted.
That must have been frustrating.
I felt discouraged at first.
That's understandable.
But later I realized it might not have been the right opportunity.
That's a very positive perspective.
Sometimes disappointment leads to better things.
I believe that too.
What do you do to recover emotionally?
I talk to friends.
That helps a lot.
Sharing feelings makes them lighter.
Yes, it reduces the burden.
I also remind myself that failure is part of life.
That's an important lesson.
Every disappointment teaches something.
Exactly.
What lesson did you learn from your experience?
To keep improving my skills.
That's a great attitude.
Life always gives us another chance.
That's very true.
We just have to keep trying.
Persistence is important.
When was the last time you felt proud of yourself?
Recently, after completing a challenging project.
What kind of project?
A work project that required months of effort.
That must have been satisfying.
It really was.
Hard work often brings that feeling.
Exactly.
What made you most proud?
Seeing the final results.
That moment must have felt rewarding.
It reminded me that persistence pays off.
What about you?
When did you last feel proud?
When I learned a new skill.
What skill was it?
I learned how to cook a difficult recipe.
Cooking can be challenging.
It took several attempts.
But you finally succeeded.
Yes, and it felt great.
Achievements don't always have to be big.
That's true.
Small accomplishments matter too.
They build confidence.
Exactly.
Celebrating progress is important.
It motivates us to keep improving.
I'm trying to appreciate my efforts more.
That's a good habit.
Do you ever miss someone who lives far away?
Yes, I miss one of my best friends.
What happened?
He moved to another country last year.
That must have been difficult.
We used to spend a lot of time together.
It's hard when close friends move away.
Now we mostly talk online.
Technology helps maintain friendships.
Yes, but it's not the same.
I understand.
What about you?
I miss my grandmother.
Were you very close?
Yes, she was very kind to me.
What do you remember most about her?
She always gave wise advice.
She sounds like a wonderful person.
She really was.
Do you still think about her often?
Yes, especially during holidays.
Memories keep people close to us.
That's true.
Missing someone shows how important they were.
Exactly.
How do you stay positive during difficult times?
I try to focus on solutions rather than problems.
That sounds like a good strategy.
It helps me stay motivated.
What else helps you stay positive?
Spending time with supportive people.
Positive people can influence our mindset.
Yes, they remind us that things will improve.
Do you practice gratitude?
Yes, sometimes I write down things I'm grateful for.
That can really change your perspective.
It helps me appreciate life more.
Do you ever read motivational books?
Occasionally.
They can be very inspiring.
They remind me that challenges are temporary.
That's an important lesson.
Staying positive doesn't mean ignoring problems.
It means facing them with hope.
Exactly.
A positive mindset makes life easier.
And much more enjoyable.
I completely agree.
Optimism gives us strength to continue.
And that's what really matters.